is Janet White, and I'm a dyslexia specialist in Abilene. I do dyslexia therapist with individual students using basic language skills, an Orton-Gillingham-based curriculum. Repetition and consistency are vital for dyslexic learners, but I've found that there's a need to add some variety, especially for today's digital learners. This presentation, entitled Sight Word and Fluency Practice Using Digital Media, will demonstrate a lesson designed to be taught over 4 days to a beginning reader. The student will be picking sight words from a story to learn and practicing fluency as he reads the story. He will then make his own story using Haiku Deck and have the opportunity to practice fluency with his own work. We will also send the link to the story to his family for him to share at home. This presentation will demonstrate ideas to reading teachers about how to incorporate technology into beginning reading lessons in a relevant, engaging way that will let students use language, applying 21st century methods.
Students today live in an increasingly digital world. 14 years ago, UNESCO published a statement saying that information technologies could have a tremendous impact on education. Now, even elementary-age children have smartphones or tablets, or at least have access to them. They have come to expect information to be given to them in fast, engaging presentations. The challenge to schools is how best to incorporate these new technologies into lessons in authentic ways. One use of digital learning that is appealing is to provide personalized access in lessons. Mobile apps can be downloaded onto devices to individualize teaching, learning, and communication. Potentially, this converts laptops or tablets into what one study called digital education prescription pads. Another benefit of using technology with lessons is the motivation factor. Teachers can use presentations to spark interest in and focus attention on the concept being introduced. Unfortunately, too often schools give teachers access to technological tools without giving them training or time to develop meaningful uses of those tools. In a study in New York, the researchers found that the older the students, the less technologies were used in meaningful ways. The smart boards were little more than chalkboards, and the online reading program mainly dealt with basic, lower-level reading skills like vocabulary. But even in the digital video age, students must learn to use language to convey and understand concepts. Several studies have been done to find the best ways to incorporate technology into reading lessons. When reading, students must develop automaticity, which leads to fluency, which leads to comprehension. Repeated readings can be done using technology. Recording students reading on a platform like VoiceThread gives students the chance to then listen to themselves for self-monitoring of accuracy and prosody. Technology can also be used for composition. In a case study of the Laptops Initiative in Ireland, researchers found that as laptops were used for the writing process in the classrooms, students thought of themselves as writers who could share their work with others. With so many tools and apps that can be used to facilitate use of language, there are many ways that teachers can use technology to encourage beginning and struggling readers and writers. While nothing can take the place of practice, tools can be used to allow students more modes of practice and assessment, keeping them engaged and motivated and thus more likely to keep practicing.
One app that students could use for making their own compositions and storytelling is Shadow Puppet, which is the app that was used for the preceding slideshow. Another fun app is Telegami. It can be used to make a cartoon of a person talking. I've used Telegami as an introduction to my fluency unit to spark interest in my students.
Do you have pets? If you do, I bet you have a lot of stories about the funny things that they do. We're going to read a story about Harry the dirty dog and the crazy things that Harry does. I think you're going to enjoy it, and then you're going to get to make your own story about Harry.
Now I'm going to be showing you the lesson that I would do with a private student in my practice for sight words and fluency practice. This lesson comes from a book called Reading Problems, Assessment and Teaching Strategies by Jennings, Caldwell, and Lerner, and I've adapted it for an individual student using digital media. The very first thing we would do is read Harry the Dirty Dog. I would read it to him, and then we would read through about page 13 together in a choral reading. We would make a note of about 5 words that he didn't know. Then we would go over to Quizlet. Quizlet is an online program that teachers and students can log into to enter in flashcards or definitions or quizzes to practice with. So I've already created a program for him, and we would go in here and we would enter in some words that he needs to know. These could be words that are irregular or just words that he has a problem with. You have the option of putting definitions over here, but for our purposes, he just needs to know the words to be able to recognize them. So after we enter those in, we'd hit done, and then he has the choice. Now I can send the link to home for his parents to work on with him if they desire, or we'll just work on them in class. So if I go on to flashcards, then I will let him has to read the words. And of course, because these are basically two-sided cards, he's going to say the word twice, which is fine. Oh, actually needs to hit play. And he says the words, and then he can hit and practice these. The next time that my student comes to therapy, we would go back over the words that he's already learned. I practice those probably on the iPad so that he could have complete control over it. And then we would read the rest of the book together. We would choose about 5 more words from that section to add to the Quizlet, go in and do the same thing that we had done before. On day 3, I'd have him practice all those words, which again, he's getting to pick the words, so it gives him a little more control over his learning. And then we would read the whole story again. At this point, I would let him read most of it with just my help. For this next part of the lesson, we'll be using Haiku Deck, which is another online application that we can use.
So by day 4 of this unit, the student will be pretty familiar with his sight words, and he'll be ready to make his own ebook. So we're going to go into Haiku Deck, and I've already started this new deck for him. So we're going to go on here to edit it. And I went through previously and scanned some pictures from the book, went on to Photoshop Elements and whited out the text that was already on there, and then imported some of them into Haiku Deck. If we want to add more, he can go in here. We're going to click on Slide Type, and we want one with a picture. And then we'll go over here to Layouts, and we can choose where we want the picture to be. It could be at the top, it could be at the bottom, it could be on the side, something like that. Then, oh, that's not going to work for that one. We've got to have the picture at the... Oh, there we go. Then if he wants to add some more pictures, then we can go on that plus. Again, pick one with a picture, pick out which layout we want, and then go over here to where it says set the background and choose from my pictures. Choose a file, and because I've already been using this, it pops up. So we're going to choose a picture and open that. Then we have the chance to crop it to make it fit what we're wanting. and save that. Now, when it puts the picture in, we can still choose to change the layout if we want. If there's a better way to fit, some of these pictures don't fit exactly the way we might choose, but we would let him have that choice. And then we can go in, once that's done, and he can edit the arrangement if he wants. He can put this one at the end just by dragging and dropping it. Now he gets to write his own story. So we'll click on the page that he wants, go up here to text, and let him choose what he wants it to say. We're going to try to be sure that he uses all of the words, or at least most of the sight words that he's been using, since that was kind of the point. So, and he can make a whole new story. Snoopy loved to be brushed. Then you just click on the next one. It takes it a minute to load it here. And he can write whichever story he likes. One day he took the brush. We also have the choice over here on, I believe it's on background, to change the text background if we want it to be clear. For these particular pages, it doesn't work very well to have the background clear, just because there's so much on these pages. They're a little bigger than the screen, so we're going to keep those with a background on them. And again, it takes it a minute to load. We'll switch that one around a little bit. For a long walk. When we're done and we've got it the way we want it, you can go up here. There, we'll put a happily ever after at the end. Then we can hit play and he can view it. We can go on here to make it bigger. So now he can read his own ebook. Okay, let's see. Hold on down here. Oh, that's not going to work. We have the arrows down here. And he can go through and read his own book. Again, we're trying for to use the sight words that he has been using, and then we can escape to go back. One of the reasons that I like Haiku Deck, for students who are struggling readers, to have a slideshow where the slides are at a set time is very frustrating because they can't read it that fast. The thing that I like about Haiku Deck is he can flip through the pages at the speed that he wants and read them. When he's all done and he's read the story and he's happy with the way it is, if he's not, we can always go down here to edit and go back and change something. I don't know why that keeps not showing up, but he can change whatever it is that he's wanting to change, and then we can try it again to make sure it's what he wants. And just a minute, so we'll view it. So once he gets it, we have a couple of options. We could go down here and share it. There's our link. We can send that link to choose social media if we want. I probably wouldn't do that. That would not be something I would do with my students. But if their parents chose to, they could. Then we would highlight the link and send it to his parents so that he could go home and show it to them.
For any elementary age student, seeing your own work published is motivating. For a student who struggles with reading and writing, to make a book like this, which looks professional, it's doubly exciting. My goal is for him to read the original book and his own book several times, because repeated readings have been proven to increase fluency. This lesson could also be done in reading groups by having students practice sight words at an iPad or laptop station, then have a small group write the text together. The young people in our schools today are called the I generation, or digital learners. The only world they've ever known is one with the internet, smartphones, social media, and downloaded entertainment. So it is vital that our educational techniques utilize these technologies, and that we equip learners to express their knowledge in different modalities. At the same time, technology is changing so fast that by the time these elementary age students graduate from high school, many of today's cutting-edge tools will be obsolete. As educators, we need to prepare our students to use their critical thinking and creative skills to adapt to their changing world and become educated leaders in the 21st century.